What's up, guys? I'm Chad Barnes, and welcome to the channel. Here, it's all about real car talk, from simple fixes to smart driving tips and keeping your ride in top shape. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, and make sure you watch all the way through. There's a lot of good stuff coming. Let's get to it.
From the technical point of view, such a bright car, as Fiat 500, is nothing special. The basis of a body, from Fiat Panda of the third generation, though seriously remodeled for decrease of dimensions and increase of level of passive safety. The chassis of the 500 has a shorter engine compartment and trunk, and as a result, both the engine compartment and the interior are composed quite differently. The material is conventional and high-strength steel. Drive, of course, only front, motors strictly transversely, at the back, twist beam, and at the front, McPherson. Very compact saloon in size 3+1. It is when behind the driver an adult will not sit normally, but behind a passenger seat there is a place. Quite decent trunk. The engine range is very wide. There are more than 20 variants, from 60 to 180 horsepower, from 2 to 4 cylinders. There are relatively simple gasoline atmospherics, and supercharged engines, and diesels, and even a mild hybrid. The supercharged models are offered under a separate Abarth brand. Fully electric unit on the same chassis is also available. However, the batteries are enough only for 160-135 km in summer in a new car. Brakes in the front are disc brakes. In the rear most versions have drums, and the Abarth and the most powerful 1.416V also have discs. For premium is responsible not bad, by class standards, equipped with options like xenon headlights and nice finish. The model is produced since 2007 up to now, but it will not have a direct successor, only all-electric hatch in a completely different price category. Timeline March 2004. Fiat Tribuno concept by Turin Studio ID. EA. Is presented at the Geneva Motor Show. The style of the concept and the layout of the car fully repeats the production car. July 4, 2007. The model is officially presented. October 27, 2007 sales in Europe begin. Motors 1.28V 69 horsepower, 1.416V 101 horsepower and diesel 1.3 JTD 75 horsepower. All versions either with cellar-speed robotized automatic transmission or 5-speed manual transmission. July 2008. The introduction of the 135 horsepower Abarth version. The first of many, with new variants to be released every year thereafter. December 2009. Introduction of diesel engine with particulate filter 1.3 multijet DPF in the range. October 2010. Appearance in the lineup of the 2-cylinder 0.9 twin-air 85 horsepower motor, and the first of the 180 horsepower versions of the Abarth 695. From this moment, the diesel 1.3 JTD is no longer available. Only the new version with particulate filter remains. For the U.S. market, production of cars with Aisin TF81 SC automatic transmission and 1.416V engine began. August 2013. Release of electric Fiat 500e with 113 horsepower motor and a range of 160 km, fall 2013. The 2-cylinder motor rose in power to 105 horsepower and replaced the 1.416V motor in most markets. June 2015. Facelift for 2016 model year. Minor exterior changes, equipment upgrades. New lensed optics for all variants. August 2018. Discontinuation of diesel vehicles. January 2020. Appearance of the third generation of the Fiat 500, but only in electric version. The release of versions with an internal combustion engine of the last generation continues. Body. Exterior panels are small age and external galvanization are not a hindrance to light corrosion, because the paintwork is rather weak and thin, and the car is not supposed to have mudguards. Paint chips on the edge of the arches, on the joints of fenders and bumpers can bloom already on cars produced in 2010 to 2011. Younger cars usually have almost clean metal under the chip paint, thanks to a layer of zinc. Take a closer look at the sills. The drain from the sill is not very well made, with rubber valves and plugs, and they get clogged with time. Add here leaky end plugs, low ground clearance, sand with moisture getting inside and thin metal of the panel with one-sided galvanization. And we get corrosion of the outer panel of the sill on many cars of literally 3 years old. Somewhere more, somewhere less obvious. In cars of the first years of production, it is already worth to check the sills carefully for the presence of putty. Thin metal is often bent with a jack or the foot of the elevator by sloppy services. What the tire shop may take for a stiffening rib of the sill stiffener turns out to be just a notch on the sill itself, which is not intended for jacking at all. However, the sill stiffener is not designed for such loads. The edge is easily bent and rusts. The jack stands are hidden further away. Scratches and chips on the doors under the handles are also a common problem, but there is usually no rust there. Neither is it at the bottom of the doors. However, the seam sealant on the oldest cars may already be slightly bulging, which means that corrosion will become visible there quite soon. From below, apart from the sills, whose problems can be seen from below much better, it will be noticeable that the underbody is hardly covered with mastic, except for the seams. That's why there are usually enough scratches. Underjacks are well marked here. The front one suffers a lot from sandblasting and also collects dirt, so there is corrosion on it even in very new cars. Scratches and edges of the unprotected metal are slowly becoming discolored. Behind the front wheel locker you can find mud pockets, and voluminous and too level. The dirt accumulates not only at the very bottom, but also a little higher, at the ribs. A rust spot on the fender just at the height of the plastic cover can be formed for this reason and be through if the car is more than 5 years old, and the previous owners never looked under the lockers. The holes in the locker mounting behind the pillar usually serve as catalysts for rust. There are also lockers in the rear arches. They cover the metal from sandblasting quite well, but dirt collects behind them with the same success. If you remove the locker, you can see the sill plug, the same as in the lower part. In many respects, it is its leaks that contribute to sill corrosion. Dirt also accumulates behind the fuel filler pipes and body structures. The main vulnerable areas are the front lower edge of the rear arch and the studs of the tube mountings. Lastly, inspect the rear beam mounting brackets. They are usually fine, but the bodywork around them is often rotten. Body equipment, despite the small size, the quality of workmanship and complexity of construction are quite high. Higher than typical B-class cars and closer to C or even D-class. There are a lot of decorative inserts, composite parts, reinforcements, seals, and similar elements. Moreover, compactness creates some peculiarities in body maintenance. So, any removal of the front subframe, for example, for suspension repair requires removal of the front bumper. Access to headlights is very difficult. It will be difficult to change a bulb without removing the lockers or bumper. It is interesting that in Abarth and turbo diesel versions the front bumper is noticeably larger, and the car becomes longer by 7 centimeters. The additional space is used for installation of radiators of larger size and convenience of intake layout. In addition, it is worth considering the availability of spare parts, with which there are expected problems. If you want to save money, you will have to order a lot of parts from Poland, where these Fiats are assembled. Detail original price, non-original price, non-original price 2 body parts, front headlight 13871 TYC 5366 mm, 7182 windshield 31022. Pilkington 8917 XYG 7933 front wing 11254 Clockerholm 4209 Blick 10071 front bumper 340 Polcar 10659 Prasco 6232 hood not available. Polcar 8103 Prasco 9667 interior. Fiat 500 has tried to make the interior pleasant. It is well felt even visually. Everything is also not bad to the touch. Soft touch coating on twists, buttons and multimedia system panel. Good feelings from deflectors of climate system. Visually everything is quite cool, stylish, a little retro, with attention to fittings. Very high quality steering wheel and seats, and interestingly composed dashboard. But there is still a lot more hard plastic, as well as simple plastic buttons without any soft touch. Powdery plastics of the center console and doors and smooth plastic of control panels of climate control quickly get dirty, and chrome on the handle of the gearbox fades, as well as on the rings around the buttons of the emergency alarm and steering amplification control. However, due to the combination of quality and simplicity, by 150,000 there will be not so many elements in the interior that give away the mileage. Most of all pedals, steering wheel switches and, strangely enough, the tape recorder, on which the notorious soft-touch coating is fraying. The steering wheel, seats and almost all other equipment differ minimally from the new ones. The most unpleasant thing in the interior is moisture. There are many reasons for wetting of carpets and foam pad under the climate control unit. For example, not very successful glands of tubes and wiring of the engine panel, on which condensate and water from the drainage of the overmotor niche flows inside the air conditioner tubes, as well as current heater tubes. It is possible to fight against water ingress. Just modify the drain by diverting moisture from the windshield away from the air conditioner tube and the large orange corrugation. You can seal the engine shield openings better. You can at least tighten the clamp around the AC tube to keep most of the moisture from flowing further away. There is a modified valve for draining water from the overmotor recess. It has a slightly different shape and diverts water to the side, and you can also put a tube on it. Heater leaks are still rare, but it is worth changing antifreeze more often and monitoring the condition of clamps, radiator, and pressure in the cooling system. Judging by the much richer experience of Opel Corsa D, which is also built on the same Fiat platform and which we have previously written about in detail, on cars over 10 years old, leaks will be almost guaranteed. Electric simplicity and not bad quality of execution allow owners to think minimally about electrics. All spoil the low resource of the starter on gasoline motors 1, 2, and 1, 4, a little more than 100,000, and some capriciousness. Or, rather, ill-conceived onboard systems. So, the message high coolant temperature usually means a dead battery, and installation of the wrong nominal bulbs or LEDs will cause constant reminders about inoperability of illumination of this or that circuit. A separate conversation about Fiat 500e. There is an experience of operation of such cars as well. Electric model is quite successful. The battery from Samsung loses 10 to 15% of capacity by 40 to 50,000 kilometers of mileage, but provides even with mileage over 100,000 130 to 150 kilometers of distance from socket to socket. Charger until 2017 works well with 220V sockets. After the plug was introduced a temperature sensor, and simply changing it will not work. The condition of the battery can be viewed with a scanner. It's not difficult. And do not forget to change antifreeze in a cooling system of a battery every 5 years, though its lifetime is declared in 10. Because after 5 years microleaks begin, and MOPA antifreeze is strongly delaminated, and traces of corrosion of aluminum elements are visible. And also Fiat 500 has battery heating from charging, that in our conditions is very useful. Intermediate summary: there are two things that can provoke serious costs for this car: neglected corrosion and an accident. Sounds trivial, but specifically for Fiat, inherently poorly protected from rust with its many small expensive fittings, supplied at reasonable prices only on order, these things play a particularly serious role. Well, be very careful inspecting the interior for both moisture and whether the true mileage matches the stated mileage. As I said above, the finish is of high quality, and it is relatively easy to hide the mileage. In conclusion, the Fiat 500, while a stylish and compact vehicle, can be susceptible to through corrosion if dirt and water accumulate in the cabin due to air conditioning issues. Regular maintenance and inspections are crucial to prevent moisture buildup and protect your car's integrity. By staying vigilant and addressing any signs of water intrusion promptly, you can ensure your Fiat 500 remains in excellent condition for years to come. Thank you for watching, and drive safely.